Ooh, I like your setup there. I see a big
Yeah,
apple back there.
I wondered if you would see it there.
I just noticed that and went, wow. Ooh.
I'll have to maybe at least mention this. That's our latest acquisition. It's a 50-inch 4K high definition.
Nice.
Looks like we're
Well, that,
streaming, so
that
welcome to
looks
everyone.
perfect back there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and launch the titles here, and we'll share those guys. Everybody who, you're already seeing us, but hey, we've got to show you the titles or it's completely unofficial.
That's right.
Something like that. Here we go. Let's see. And yeah, we are definitely sharing. Okay, here we go. And good evening, everybody. This is Steve Sandy. I am Steve Sandy. This is Marty Edwards, and we're here for episode 19 of the wonderful AWT TV Apple World Today's live streaming podcast. And hopefully we're going to get a few more folks out there. Well, I see one right now, but we'll have a few more people joining us very quickly because this is our special Eclipse show. And today is August 14th, 2017. And that's exactly 1 week before we have the Great American Eclipse. That's a trademark, by the way, so I shouldn't be using that term. But we have a big celestial event happening, and we thought we'd mix this in, meld it in, so to speak, with everything that Apple. So this should be fun. How are you doing, Marty?
Oh, doing fine. I'm just glad the eclipse wasn't today. About 30 minutes before the eclipse time would have been, we had heavy cloud cover roll in and some rain. But the 7-day forecast is saying all sun and maximum 10% chance of rain. So that's really, nearly no chance. So it's looking good right now. So, and
This is good to hear.
well, since we last visited, I thought I would add an Apple logo up behind me here, at least for a part of the show, just starting out.
That looks nice.
Well, thanks. I changed my background a little bit. I've been working on setting up. My wife's now retired, and so we've been setting up a home theater that's a 50-inch LED 4K display. And so we've got a couple of recliners set, and I've got a surround sound system coming for it. And well, it looks great. Yeah, really enjoying it.
Well, and you're ready for a 4K Apple TV when they come out.
Well, we'll see what happens there. So I thought I would just put that up. I tried the Apple World Today logo, but the camera I'm using didn't want to pick up the colors wasn't quite the contrast. So I had to do away with that. So.
I have the SADs, as they say.
Well, I went with the Apple, so I'll probably turn it off here after a while because it may time out. But I am using Chromecast to send a Apple logo over to that. Chromecast is actually built into this TV. So,
yeah, that's one thing that I really wish that Apple would do. And this is kind of off of our main topic of this evening, which will be the eclipse. But, I really wish that Apple would work with Samsung, with some of the other companies that are out there, Vizio, LG, the rest of them, and actually build in the capability to, use them as a, whatever you call it, error. Anyway, Yeah, be able to stream to them. It'd be nice from Apple devices.
Well, it would be. That's quite handy with that built in. Of course, it's not even called a TV, even by the company. It's just a display. A lot of HDMI ports and so. But anyway, I don't mean to get too far off and eclipse our subject tonight. So
Eclipse our subject. I like the way you
yeah.
did that. Well, I'm going to actually, it's kind of fun because I started thinking about it, and I think I can actually put this down as a official, project or an official event. My my spouse, I'm having a heck of a night tonight. My spouse and I are actually both ambassadors, and this is not a joke, but we are members of it's a NASA and JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, joint effort that's called the Solar System Ambassadors Program. So I'm going to be ambassadorizing tonight. And can I do something really quickly? I noticed that my main light up here is only has half the LEDs on, so I'm going to go hit it there very quickly. Talk amongst yourselves.
Hey everyone. I'll be going alone for a while this evening. Well, that's pretty good effect for the eclipse, that some of your lights went out.
Yeah, things suddenly got dark. I don't know what was going on there. Now I'll probably be too bright, but
Yeah, we'll handle
you
it.
can never be too bright nor too rich or something like that. Anyway, I thought, we talked about this a little bit earlier amongst ourselves, and we thought that probably one of the best things to do would be to kind of give a little backgrounder about the eclipse, in case you haven't heard it from 10,000 other sources right now. But I am here to dissuade you from all of or not dissuade, that's the wrong word. But anyway, kind of keep you away from all of the bad information that's out there. Really, honestly, a lot of TV stations are just doing a horrible job with this, which is why I suggest that you go out to the NASA website, and I'll kind of talk about that. But we'll do this, and then I understand you've got some apps that you're going to show us later on.
I am. I'm going to revisit at least one that we have, but that we've looked at. But since our last visit, I've discovered another app or two that I think will really help. And I think you might want on your phone come Eclipse Day. And then I'll probably show one online that actually costs a little bit, and at least show you it's a pretty neat app. So whenever we get to that, I'll go over 2 or 3 apps and see if there's anything that I think that would be good to have loaded on your iPhone as you go out to view the eclipse.
Sounds good. Yeah, and basically, I think the way I'm going to start here is talk a little bit about, really kind of get into the science of the eclipse, some websites, NASA websites that are actually really good to look at, and then talk about some of the things that you'll see throughout the eclipse. Now, in particular, I'm going to be talking about the total eclipse. And what we're talking about there, you've heard this term total eclipse. That's when the sun is covered completely. It's kind of like my face is completely covered by my fist right now. But if this was the moon and my face was the sun, you wouldn't be able to see my face. And that's a total solar eclipse. It's completely blanks out the brightness of the sun. About the only thing you'll see around it during totality, in that path of totality, is what we call the photosphere of the sun, or the chromosphere, which is actually kind of the hot atmosphere of the sun. And we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute, but for a lot of people, if you're not on that path of totality, or if you're not going to the path of totality, you'll see what's called a partial eclipse. And that's like this, where you can still see part of my face right there. But a partial eclipse is cool. Like in Denver, we're going to be able to see 92% eclipse, but that's why I'm not in Denver. I'm going to be going up to Jackson Hole, or just north of Jackson, Wyoming, to actually see the eclipse up there. So I'm going to move over to some slides here really quickly. And let me do my wonderful sharing device here. If I can find the right screen. I tell you, life is so hard. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong screen. Where are you, Safari? Safari. There we go. Here we go. And what you may see on your screen right now is a big thing that says Solar System Ambassadors. My wife and I have been members of this group for quite some time. It's officially sanctioned by NASA and JPL. And what we do is go out and give talks to the public. We're kind of a public outreach group of volunteers that talks about space, in particular the deep space programs that NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory send out. And in cases like this, where we've got this wonderful eclipse coming up, we are indeed talking about the eclipse. So quite a bit has been going on there. Now, one of the things I wanted to bring up is that NASA has a wonderful website. This is at Eclipse 2017. And as usual, Pippin is commenting on the entire thing. But this is eclipse2017.nasa.gov. And this website is an interactive map showing the path of totality as it goes across the United States, starts actually over in the Pacific, and then goes quite a ways out into the Atlantic Ocean. But the interesting thing about this is that not that far away from you is what we call the greatest eclipse. And that's the instant during the entire eclipse, the entire shadow of the moon being projected onto the Earth, where the axis of the moon's shadow cone passes the closest to Earth's center. So in other words, you get really the best possible eclipse at that point. Now, if I double click on this, let me see if maybe I can't double click on it, but let's see if we can zoom in a little bit and figure out where that is. It's not that far away from you.
No, it's not. And I plan on heading that direction, maybe not right at it, because they're expecting, they've been talking about millions.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, and everything you see between these blue lines here will experience that totality, 100% of the sun's face being covered by the moon. So as you can see, that's a pretty wide band. Kansas City is in it. Nashville is in it. Goes just north of Chattanooga. I've got a cat that is going to eclipse my head back here. Hi, Pippin. He's back again. But my spouse and I, of course, are going to be, whoops, and I clicked in the wrong place here. We're going to be just north of Jackson. I'm trying not to put markers on here, and they keep ending up on the thing as well. So I'm just going to zoom in here. I'm going to show you where we're going to be. It's funny about this eclipse path is that if you happen to be near Jackson, Wyoming, it actually goes across the runway at the Jackson Hole Airport. So if you happen to be on a flight and it lands, you know, at the proper time, you could be there. We're actually going to be in this golf course. It's just south of the airport here. That's our designated location. We're already hearing comments that this US Highway 191 is going to be just jammed with people. So we're planning on getting out there quite early in the morning. But that's about where we're going to be. This eclipse map, as you can see, does some rather interesting things. If you drop a pin on it, it'll tell you when the start of the partial eclipse is. That is when the moon starts showing its shadow on the surface of the sun there. When the start of the total eclipse is, in other words, just when the sun is completely obscured by the moon, when the maximum eclipse will be, the end of the total eclipse, and then the end of the partial eclipse. Altogether, this is about 2 hours and 44 minutes, I think it is. The duration of totality, however, when it's completely covered up by the moon, is only 2 minutes, in our location, 19.5 seconds. Near you, Marty, I think you guys get like 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Something like that.
Yeah, the most I've seen anywhere near me is 2 minutes, 40.2 seconds.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, so you guys are getting the good show there. If we were up at the Jackson Hole Airport standing on the runway, it would be just 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So we're not missing all that much there. But this is a great map. Like I said, it's eclipse2017.nasa.gov is the website. And I'm going to bring this up real quickly here. Oops, there we go. This is their main page. 6 days, 14 hours, 17 minutes left to go. And it's got quite a bit of information talking about the Federal Highway Administration Eclipse Transportation Information Map. Will show you where they're having issues with traffic, with people going up there. You can see local forecasts by the National Weather Service by clicking here. So I'm going to go to my favorite place in Wyoming here and get a 7-day forecast. And oh no, it's saying hazardous weather conditions. Hopefully that's right now and not later. Let's see, where's the eclipse forecast? Well, that'll be Monday. This is a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny with a high. Oh, that's next Monday. Okay, that's not good to see. So I'm hoping that clears up, or maybe, hopefully that'll be much, much better. But anyway, at least you can get this information. Here's the National Weather Service information. I think they were talking about forecast. They're looking at, at the time, we're going to be up in this area probably about 70 degrees. They have sky cover percentage will be, it's not looking that great. Well, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It says, as they say, please check back for accurate forecast near the eclipse date.
Well, scan down to, I have not been there, so scan down to Kentucky and see what our cloud cover is looking like that day.
Okay, we're going to move over.
It's sort of West Kentucky.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if that gray is good or bad. I think
the gray is bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not looking too good there.
Yeah, it's showing 84% sky cover. I think that's current, though, because if you take a look at this, it says August 14th, 8 p.m.
That is.
What I'm looking for is...
There's a Monday to the right, yeah.
Yeah, let's go all the way to Monday here. See if we can get it over there.
Because, yeah, we had some rain today. So
there we are. Now, that's much better.
Yeah, that's looking better. All right.
Yeah, that looks really good. And as you see, at your location, you're looking at...
Well, I'm down under, yeah. So, yeah, right there, 25%. But hopefully that'll clear up more before then.
Yeah, and I've got to look back over here. I think they were showing the current numbers for us, too. We're going to be, like, right up. I think that's Du Bois. We're, like, in this area. So it's looking pretty blue. Good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of the weather. I gotta, yeah, and here's some other stuff. Cloud covered climatology for August 21st in that area. This is nice. It's showing the totality there is at about 11:40 Mountain Daylight Time, and it's showing about 18 or 19% cloud coverage, which is really pretty darn good, I think. Hopefully that's not showing clouds. Anyway, I think we're looking good. So far, so good. That's why they chose that particular site. Anyway, a couple of things I wanted to show you here are some of the things that you're going to see and what makes a total solar eclipse so incredible compared to just seeing this partial eclipse. One of the things that you see right at totality is something we call Bailey's beads, and also the diamond ring effect. This is from Wikipedia, saying that the Bailey beads effect is a feature of total solar eclipses. As the moon grazes by the sun during a solar eclipse, the rugged lunar limb topography allows beads of sunlight to shine through in some places, not in others. So what you see is something that looks like this. Here's a prominence, if you can see that little cursor over there. This is just a kind of a little solar flare, but you'll see spots of light that are showing through some of the craters and mountains on the moon. And it's something that you really never otherwise see. Now, just as the sun is going in or out of totality, you can also see what they call the diamond ring effect, which is this is the last little second before or just after totality, where you get this absolutely brilliant sun behind the moon peeking out a little bit. And it looks like a bright diamond ring. It's just one of the most incredible things you'd ever want to see. This is a video here. Yeah, this is not the best video, by the way, but you can see how this is the eclipse. You can see that photosphere out there of the sun. And then in a second, you'll see this sudden flash of light. Boom, there it is. And that's the diamond ring effect. And it suddenly got very, very bright there. So these are some of the things that you can see. Now, one other thing, the previous solar eclipse that my wife and I saw back in 1998 on Aruba was pretty cool because we saw what they refer to as shadow bands, and it's a flickering effect that you see on light colored surfaces just before or just after the total solar eclipse. Now, this was actually taken, as it says, north of New Zealand on Celebrity Millennium, which is one of their big cruise ships. And it was a total solar eclipse, 14th November 2012. And I've got this queued up. If you watch this gentleman that's in this white shirt right here, he gets very excited and you see him holding his phone up. And that's because over on this bright white surface over here, he begins to see shadow bands. And I'm going to play this. Now, I don't know if you can see that here, but see that flickering?
The moon and the sun coming down.
That's the first time I've seen them.
Oh my God.
Those are shadow bands. Now, I'm going to stop right here because this is one of the other fascinating things about a total solar eclipse. It looks like sunset. This is in the middle of the day. And what you'll see right around totality is that around the horizon, it looks like sunset. Just above you, right there where the sun is, it's going to be completely black. You'll see stars, you'll see planets, whatever. But around you is this weird sunset, the shadow that you get. And we're going to move on a little bit here. I think people are looking at
There's the lines again.
You got the
and now they're
shadow
back
band again. Now that's
looking
really,
at the shadow bands.
really amazing.
And that's something to
That's
look for
amazing, that is, isn't it?
just before
10
or
o'clock
just
you come.
after
The
Yeah,
first time
you
I've
can
seen
see
them.
it on the back of pearls.
eclipse or the totality. Now, one thing about watching the eclipse, about the only time that you can really look naked eye at the sun during the entire eclipse, and I'm going to stop sharing here, is during totality. You want to make sure that it's completely in totality before you take off these guys. And these are the very attractive solar eclipse glasses. There's been a little bit of a controversy, and I can't see a doggone thing right now, but a little bit of a controversy because it turns out that some what's the best term for it? Shall we say bogus items got out onto the market. Now, the best way that you can tell if you've got real eclipse glasses that aren't going to cause you to go blind is to actually just put them on, take your iPhone, turn on the flash, hold the camera lens right up to your glasses there, and then take a picture. And if you see just a kind of a dim orange glow through the glasses, then they're probably okay. You don't want to see any scratches or anything else on these. At that point, you can probably go ahead and give them a test before the eclipse, put them on, go outside, and look up at the sun. And what you should see is this nice little orange orb. And it shouldn't be real bright, but you should be able to see the sun. You don't want to spend like the entire 2 hours and 40 minutes of the lifetime of the eclipse looking through these things, even if they're safe. I would suggest that you spend some time looking around and seeing what's going to happen. You're going to see animals acting weird. They're going to be acting like, why is it suddenly getting dark and it's the middle of the day? You'll see, birds going to sleep in trees. You'll see dogs deciding that, oh, it's time to sleep. I'm going to curl up and go to bed. You'll see other weird things like that. So something to definitely watch otherwise. Anyway, if you're concerned about whether or not you have good or bogus solar eclipse glasses, one thing to look for, they're from a company called Rainbow Symphony Incorporated that made a lot of these, or had a lot of them made. Make sure that it has all of the contact information printed on these. We had given about 250 or I think 500 of these to a group of students. And when we found out about this, we had some people contact the company, and they said, well, if it's got our name and address on it and phone number, then you're okay. Those are our official glasses. They're not the bogus ones, the counterfeits. So anyway, something very important to look at. If you're thinking about taking photos, which I'm sure a lot of people are, don't take a photo unless you've gone out and you've purchased a solar filter. This is from a company called Thousand Oaks Optical. And as you can see, it's very, very reflective. I think they actually deposit silver on these. I got this years ago for the 1998 eclipse. I'm glad it still fits one of my cameras. And so I'll be taking some pictures just before and hopefully just after the eclipse. But it's probably too late to order one of these if you don't have them. Do you want to point your iPhone right at the sun? Chances are, even if you've got one of those little 2x telephotos, you're not going to be able to get a decent image. It's going to be just obscured. You might want to try at totality. That's about the only time you'll probably be able to take a picture. But once again, it's probably going to look so small in your field of view that it's not going to be that great. What else can you do? Well, there's something called a pinhole viewer, and you can actually make these out of Pringles cans. I've got a site here. This is from the eclipse.illinois.edu. I'm going to go ahead and share this. If I can get back to my sharing screen there. There we are. There we go. Okay. And what you'll see here is pinhole viewers allow you to actually project the sun onto something. And this article is great because it shows how you can take a couple of Pringles cans and tape them together and create this, or take a mailing tube and you can create one of these pinhole viewers to actually project an image of the sun. So it's really kind of a cool thing. They also show how to take a cereal box and do the same thing. Very safe way of doing it because you're not looking at the sun. You're actually looking at a projected image. And so I really, really recommend taking a look at that as well. Once again, this is from illinois.edu, eclipse.illinois.edu. Very, very good resource for finding this information on how to make a pinhole viewer. Now, one other thing that's kind of cool, when it gets to the point that the sun is actually eclipsed quite a bit, one thing that you're going to see is that if you have a tree nearby and you've got those little, spots of light that are shining through the tree, what you're going to see are crescent shapes on the ground because it's acting kind of like one of these pinhole viewers. That's another safe way to look at an eclipse is if you happen to be near a tree, you take a look at those shadows on the ground and you'll see these little crescent shapes down there. It's really kind of cool.
Another thing you might do filming or videoing, even though you can't point your iPhone, is just if you have a tripod or set it up, just do a time lapse before and after, and then look at the gradual.
Exactamundo. And after you do your demonstrations of your apps, I have a app that I just did my dry run today of this particular application, doing a 2 hour and 40 minute long
wow
time lapse, and it compresses down so the entire 2 hours and 40 minutes will pass in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So people won't get bored to tears. Instead, what they'll see is, if there are any clouds in the sky, they're going to be whooshing by. If any mooses come chasing after my wife and I, they'll be whipping by really quickly. And it takes one picture every 6 seconds for 2 hours and 40 minutes. But let's go ahead and I'm going to let you do your bit now because I've yammered on for a while. So.
Well, your things were so good, I hate to even do anything, So.
No.
Oh, let's see. Okay, I'll just briefly here share some. I think I would find apps good. Let me get a screen share going of the iPhone. It always takes just a moment here. All right. Let's all right. Should be seeing my phone now.
I see your screen.
All right. I've got some things here I want to share. The first one is not an Eclipse app. It's actually what Steve had referenced earlier. I would consider loading the NASA app. And if you have good internet connection while that you're there, as you see, that's their really, they're covering some about it, that they're going to stream the eclipse live for the duration of it and have many different views, basically every kind of social media that you can imagine, pardon me, but Facebook and Twitter and everything, they're going to be streaming live. And so that would be a way that you can watch totality if you're not able to be there. Even if you're there, you might just see the views from some other places. So I recommend the NASA app. It's a great app anyway. All right, let me go back and pick another one. I actually went over this one probably about 3 weeks ago, but I want to bring it up again in case some of the viewers did not see it. This is probably my favorite one. Maybe I discovered a new one today. Go to the App Store and look for an app called Eclipse Safari. It's free. You open it up, and of course it tells us the exact countdown, but I really only usually hit the one that says Interactive Eclipse Map. Whenever you open it, if you've already given permission, it will show your location. It shows where I'm at. And it says the eclipse from my house is going to be 98.89%. and it tells the time it starts, the maximum, and when it ends. Well, that's not enough. I want to go just a little west in Kentucky, and we'll probably go down near this town called Princeton. My wife was there last week, and I asked her, I said, do you think you can pull over and park and save us a place? But it was 2 weeks away. So we
She didn't want to
no.
sleep in the car for 2 weeks.
So anyway, we'll drive down here. There's a lot of rural area, a lot of country. This is really farm area. And we've scouted out some places of church buildings, cemeteries, were, just out in the rural area, probably away from the crowd. And we found one right out in here, really close to Totality. And just drop a pin there. As you see, if we get to that place, it should be calculating how long it's going to last. I don't know why it's not coming up right now. How long? All right, 2 minutes, 40.1 seconds. That's pretty much the most that you can get. And so anywhere down in this area, drive a few miles. Oh, that's the most I've seen. 2 minutes, 40.2 seconds. And this is really farming area. So I hope to find, like I said, a cemetery, a church building, parking lot, a school. And I know a lot of farmers I've read are going to be renting out spaces in their fields for maybe $30 for 10 by 10, which I would pay to get a good, place away from the city lights. There's not many city lights down in there, but this is really a nice app. It's free because no matter where you're at, you open it up, it tells you the percentage, everything about the time and how long it's going to last. So if you're driving and thinking, is this a good place? Just open it up. You get instant feedback of, yeah, this is a great place.
Wow.
So very simple. It's free. It's called Eclipse Safari. This is one I was preparing for our show today, doing a dry run, and I actually discovered this app just today. It's called simply Totality. You open it up, and I go to my location. It tells me I'm 98.9% of the sun directions to my location. The nearest Totality, I hit it. It actually tells me, okay, I need to go to Gallatin, Tennessee. That's down in Dennis's neighborhood. It'll last, how long that it's going to. But I do plan on, let me close this, of where we plan on going down here in West Kentucky, just in this area around Princeton, Kentucky. And it's actually in one of these fields that we plan on going to. All right, if I can get there, it'll last 2 minutes, 40 seconds. It'll tell me the directions to get there. But it tells me the partial eclipse begins at 11:55, totality at 1:23, and then when it ends. Let's click some details. And this is a free app.
Wow.
Okay, a lot more detail. If I make it to that spot, it tells me some things I had to admit I'm not too familiar with. It gives the exact latitude and longitude, which I know. The umbral depth, I assume if I was at the very maximum, I assume that would be 100%. The deepest the sun's shadow could be touching the earth. The width at that spot, if I can get there, when I say if I can get there, it's because of the crowds, but it'll be 71 miles wide at that point. The sun will be obscured 100%. The magnitude of the sun at maximum, the moon size ratio, and how fast that the sun's shadow will be moving at that point. 1,449 miles an hour. The moon shadow will be going. So let's see.
Oh, and by the way, you can see it coming.
Moves fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what it looks like. I tap on start of partial. There's what it's going to look like, but it also shows you the limb. It's going to be happening at about 2 o'clock of the sun. The direction is on a clock face. The start of totality, what it should look like. And then maximum, which isn't much different, end of total, then end of partial. You see it actually disappears on another limb there because of the rotation of the earth. It's not a straight line or, the way that we're going. So that's a free app, and I really like this app a lot.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really a good app. This is called Totality. That's just simply it. So I recommend those two. There's one that I'll show in a moment that I've actually got a Safari window because I don't have it loaded, and I'll show you why. Now, here's one we did a review of a few weeks ago called, as you can see, it's showing some meteors. This is called Luminous. This is a relatively expensive app. It's $25, but it's my all-time favorite astronomy app. I do not have time to go into it tonight because I'm focusing on the eclipse. But I want to show you, and you can see from our area, there's still a little bit of sunlight even showing on the horizon.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one where you can orbit Jupiter and everything and orbit the planets. You can orbit satellites. But let's say I want to browse and look at the sun. All right. So it tells me as I scan down, oh, there's a total eclipse in 6.7 days. So let's tap on it. There it is. All right. Some information about it. It's going to be just west of us in Kentucky. And I wonder what it looks like. It actually, I can show the path of it and everything right there and how it's going to be obscured. But one of the neatest things on here is that I can go to this location, that I can actually, okay, I want to center the sun first of all, and then I need to get back to it. As you see, there's some options. I can set the time to the maximum eclipse. Okay, I'll do that. The app's been set to that time. Now I want to fly to the very best location to see the eclipse. So I tap on fly, and there I go. As you see the screen moving, it's pretty neat. It picks me up and flies. There is what it will look like on August 21st, 2017 at 1:29 Central Time at this place in Kentucky. So I want to center the sun. Let's zoom in and see what it will actually look like. All right, there it is right at eclipse time.
So you'll see Regulus right off to the side there.
I encourage you, if you can pull your eyes away from the total for a moment, there's something else that's very rare to see anytime that you'll be able to see. Look at the lower left. You will be able to see, well, down here a ways, Mercury. Mercury is very hard to see anytime because its orbit's only 88 days. So there's a good chance you can see Mercury, but I think we'll all be focusing on the sun. So there's what I'm hoping to see is the corona of it. And let me just show you. I like this. I probably need to zoom as we zoom in toward it here. Here's what it's going to look like. Of course, I'm zoomed in real tight. It's going to touch the sun. And this is such a great app. And then there's totality.
Nice.
And then you'll go away. And so that is my all-time favorite astronomy app. Well worth $25. But I want to screen share one other thing with you that I did not purchase. I'll have to switch back to sharing, I guess, a new share. Let's see. I haven't done this before. All right, let's go to this. All right, go to this Safari window and share it. Okay. Can you see a Safari window there with a program? I guess I got switched. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. This is an app that some people, I didn't get it because it's $1.99. Not that I mind paying it, but I'll only use it probably once in my life. But I thought this app was really neat. It's on the App Store. It's called Solar Eclipse Timer. $1.99. I don't know why I bought a hamburger today. It was $2, and it didn't last as long as the eclipse would. So, and I may end up buying it. But if you got it running, it will speak to you. It will, like, as it gets near, say, first contact in 60 seconds.
Nice.
Yeah, observe for shadow bands. I'm trying to do a real nice computer voice there. 10 minutes until totality. Observe for changes in ambient lighting. Glasses on, shields up. I just had to throw that in. And it counts down everything for you of where you're at. And so just some really neat, and it may be well worth $2 to a lot of people. So I didn't purchase this one yet, but I wanted to share it. And as you can see, all the reviews are 5 stars. So
well, I tell you, I love that idea because one of the things that I think a lot of people, you know, at least when we saw our last eclipse, it was kind of like there were some people who had stopwatches. Of course, this is 1998, you know, the dark ages. But there were people with stopwatches, and they, you know, the second it went to totality, they started the stopwatches. And as we got close to the, you know, end of totality, they were yelling out, okay, put your glasses on, you know, doing that type of thing. This is a much better idea because it's all automatic. It's right there with you. You know, that I give it a big thumbs up. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that would be a neat app, and I may end up purchasing it, but hopefully some of those will help you. But those two free ones are really some good apps. And so
Those are cool. Well, thank you for those. I was going to show, you know, I think I talked a little bit about the things I've got planned for photography on next Monday. It's just hard to believe that it's coming up that quickly. But I'm actually going to do, I think, 3 different things. First is, and I've tested all this, but first is to do a time lapse, and I'll be showing you the app I'm going to be using here in a minute. But I'm going to be doing a time lapse from just before first contact to hopefully all the way, I don't know, we may get bored and leave by that time, but hopefully all the way to last contact there. And the thing that's interesting about that is you should be able to see all the different changes, you know, then the darkness and that glow on the horizon, all these other things, you know, in that 2-minute and 40-second or about there video that's going to happen. Pippin's being really loud. He wants to come to the eclipse, and he knows he's going to be staying at home. Anyway, so that's number 1. Number 2, of course, like I said, I'm going to be doing a VR video. I already tested this. This will only last about, I don't know, 14 minutes or somewhere around there. The file size is pretty huge. It's about 2.5 gigabytes. So hopefully, you know, I think the internet's probably going to be down for a day or two after the eclipse because everybody's going to be sending pictures to each other. But as soon as I possibly can, I will get my video out on the Apple World Today YouTube channel, and you will be able to, you know, scan up, scan down, scan around. But that'll be in real time, like I said, from approximately 10 minutes before to 10 minutes after totality. So those are kind of fun. Let me show the LapseIt app now. This is an app that I had purchased. Hopefully it's going to work here. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Can't see if it's coming up yet or not. Let me unplug and plug in again, see if that does anything. Do you see anything on your end?
I do not. It just says you started sharing, but it's just a blue-gray screen.
Well, we'll stop the share there and we'll try it again.
Well, while you're working on that, I'll ask you, do you find the third party better than Apple's built-in Lapse?
Guess why it's not sharing?
Yeah. We are tech experts. Contact us.
Yeah. Experts. Let me plug this little guy in and we'll be up and running. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry. You had made a comment there. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll make it afterwards. I was wondering about how Apple's time lapse, you know, compared. So
the reason I'm using LapseIt is there's actually one big reason, and that's that it lets you capture the time lapse, and then if I wanted to actually show it in, you know, 1/4 time or something like that, or change the playback time, I can do that. So that's really the only reason I'm using that. It also lets you set focus, exposure, white balance, all these other things, which Apple's does not. Okay, I think now we should be able to get this famous last words. We'll see if it happens. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. There we go. Okay, this is LapseIt. I've got it actually in landscape mode here. It works in either landscape or portrait. But this is really kind of a cool app. To create a new time lapse, you just go in and you tap on New Capture. And this will be real exciting. It's a picture of my keyboard. Or we can, we can do the psychedelic thing here. But anyway, you'll notice over on one side of the screen there, it says there's a red capture button. When I tap that, it'll start taking a photo. Right now, I have it set up for every 6 seconds, but I could change that. I could say, take one image every minute, or every 5 minutes, or whatever I wanted to do there. 6 seconds is pretty good because you're getting 10 frames per minute. You can set the resolution. Here it's anywhere from 360p, the good old 640 by 480, 720p, or 1080p. And of course, I'm using the highest resolution because it'll look pretty good. The more setting here is what I was talking about earlier. It allows you to set the exposure. You can either lock it, you can set it for dynamic. I was having some concerns about whether I should lock it or go with dynamic. I'm going to go with dynamic. The reason I was thinking about locking the exposure is would truly show just how dark it gets and then how it brightens up. But it's kind of problematic. Focus. During this, I will definitely be locking, and it'll most likely be at the furthest possible distance. You can set white balance. You can either lock it or you can allow it to change. Zoom ramping will have it actually zoom in as the video continues, which is kind of a neat feature. And then you can either have sound, you can turn the flash on and off. I don't know why you'd want to do that unless you're taking pictures of flowers at night or something like that. So anyway, that's the setup. I'm going to cancel out of this, but in my gallery here, you'll notice I have this thing that says test lapse 08 14 17. This is what I did earlier today, and actually took as you can see, it's 161. Well, it's 161 seconds long. It's 1,616 frames taken 10 seconds apart. So 16,160 actual seconds that took took place there. It renders the image, or you can actually just view it. I'm going to go ahead and just show you. As you can see here, if you watch these shadows here on the screen, you'll notice the sun's moving. At one point towards the, later in this, and I'm not going to wait that long, but later on you can see a squirrel running along the fence, which is really kind of funny. But actually, let me jump towards the end because you can actually see some cloud movement. Let's see here. Okay, you can start seeing these clouds over here on the horizon. Hopefully we're not going to see those on Eclipse Day up there in Wyoming. But it is kind of fun to watch how fast these move in that. Oh, and there went a squirrel. Yeah, and there he goes back. But how quickly these this all moves in time lapse. And pretty soon here, I think, if I remember correctly, you get some clouds up in this part of the sky. Yeah, here we go. I'm getting some clouds up there. So anyway, if you can imagine, hopefully I'm going to have this pointed towards the Grand Tetons, it's a spectacular, very young mountain range, very jagged peaks. And I'm just hoping that we can see what's going on during the eclipse rather than, that's a good message to see. A reminder, clean litter boxes. Just came up on the screen there. But anyway, hopefully we'll be able to see quite a bit of what's actually going on around it. The name of the app is LapseIt. And I completely forgot how much it cost here. So let me pull
at least
that up.
we know why Pippin was up on your head earlier.
Yeah, he's saying, clean my litter box. Oh, come on. Let's search it. There we go. There we are. It's actually a free app, but has an in-app purchase for $2.99, so $3. Definitely worth the money if you want to do any time-lapse photography. Really, really well done app.
It looks nice. Yeah, so that's for iPhone, obviously. So
I haven't tried it on iPad, but I really should. I didn't even think about that. It'd be cool.
well, I've never, and of course, it has a lot more options, as you mentioned, than the iPhone's built-in time lapse. One of the things I like, or I guess you could dislike about the iPhone's time lapse, is the longer you take a video like that, it will spread it out for you. If you only take 2 minutes, it might take a shot every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But if you go 3 hours, it will probably spread it out to every minute or every 90 seconds. It figures out the best rate. So.
Yeah, the one thing that I really, I did find a problem with this app. When you go to render it, it actually captures all these images in the app, and then it renders them into a movie, and it allows you to change all those various settings. But there was a checkbox for adding a timestamp, which I think would be really important for something like this, where you want to have the local time. Kind of on the bottom of the video. And guess what? You can't get to it because it's off the side of the screen. I think they misscaled this a little bit. And unfortunately, it won't work when you do it in, that particular command doesn't come up when you do it in landscape mode. So
Yeah.
error. But other than that, it's a pretty good app.
Well, I was talking about the apps really ought to have in your arsenal for the Eclipse. One thing is just a decent weather app to keep an eye on, clouds rolling in. You might be able to drive a few miles, escape them. For what it's worth, and I may address this in a couple of weeks, that you had gone over a new weather app called Storm Radar by the Weather Channel a few weeks ago. They had a major update today. Squashed many bugs. They've added alerts to it. And so maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll visit that when all the Eclipse excitement settles down.
Cool. Yeah, I love, if both of us, weather apps, astronomy apps,
Yeah.
you name it. We could just do a complete show on nothing, once a week on nothing but weather apps, I'm sure, weatherapp.com. We can change the name.
Yeah, that is my weakness, is weather apps. I load and try a lot, and so I always enjoy it.
Well, and it's funny, sometimes you'll get apps that give you a little bit conflicting information. One of them will be saying something about, today's going to be bright, sunny, and 75 degrees or something, and the other one saying, it'll be cold, rainy, and 60. Always fun to figure out who wins.
This, not to bring up something so different and new, but it might help. They're predicting around here that, they expect possibly the cell signals will go down. Emergency services reporting a lot of companies are going to bring in portable cell towers to handle the load. But there is an app on the on the App Store for iPhone, iOS, called Fire Chat. And what that lets you do, if you and your friends have it loaded, you all can chat to each other just by mesh network. You need no cell, no Wi-Fi. Your phones will all communicate with each other in a mesh, a net. And you technically could talk across the nation if y'all were spaced just right. It uses, each other as repeaters. So I'm thinking about loading that with some of my family and friends that are going. And if we're a little separated and can't talk, your phone basically becomes a walkie-talkie.
Nice. That's a great, great idea. I have this one device, and it's now in its second generation, but this thing is called Gotenna, and I was actually a backer of this when it was on Kickstarter. But what this is think of it as each one of these as being a cell tower that you would attach to your belt or something like that, or a backpack. And what it does is, as they say on the back here, it's turns your smartphone into a off-grid communication tool. And similar idea, what it does is it's got not that long a range, but it uses this radio that's built into this thing to talk to other GoTennas that are in your area. And you use Wi-Fi to connect to the GoTenna and actually communicate, send text messages, and let's see, what are some of the other things? Share locations, save pins on detailed offline maps, shout an emergency broadcast to anyone within range, and an emergency beacon button if the phone gets lost or broken or something like that. Like I said, the second generation of this is out, and I think it's got a little bit more capability than the first generation did. But that would be another really, really good idea. Like you said, emergency services folks are getting a little bit concerned because you're talking about possibly, for instance, here in Denver, everybody is saying, oh, you know where we're going to go? We're going to go up near north of Cheyenne, Wyoming, or into western Nebraska, where the path of totality goes. Well, there's one major path up there, and that's I-25. And there are some other roads that you can take, but most people are probably going to just, let's get on I-25. It's going to become a parking lot really, really quickly. One thing I would suggest for anybody who's thinking about doing any eclipse viewing, leave early, get to wherever you're going well in advance, the night before if you can, maybe sleep in your car. Second thing, bring, if you can, extra gas, bring water, bring food, because chances are pretty good that if you do get stuck in a traffic jam, you may just want to pull off the side of the road and wait for a while for things to clear up. And I'm trying to remember what my third thing was, but, just think of it as Woodstock again, happening again, except with nobody hopefully being high.
Well, I tell you, of course, probably a lot of our viewers know that you and I are both ham radio operators.
Yes,
amateur
indeed.
operators. So I'm making sure I have my radio ready and antenna and everything, and to communicate. And so, of course, you had to be federally licensed to be able to do that. But I'm going to stay prepared and be ready.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, but you cannot get your license within the next week. Not going to happen. You'll need to study. You'll need to take an exam, a proctored exam. And once you pass the exam, then it takes a little while for the FCC to actually give you your call sign. But think about it. It's a great way of communicating in situations like what we're talking about.
Yeah. And can you believe that a week from now, when we do our next show, if we're able to do one, the eclipse will be over? We've been talking about it for weeks.
Well, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do something. I'm trying to remember what we've got scheduled that evening. That maybe, I got to look here real quick. We have, let's see, that's 8:21. Actually, it's 7 p.m. Maybe we can do an early one. At 7 p.m. we have astronaut Steve Hawley is going to be talking at our location at the Jackson Lake Lodge. He's got a talk called One Abort, Two Orbiters, 5 Flights, 16 Attempts, and 1,000 NASA Stories, which sounds like a lot of fun. So that'll be interesting. So maybe we'll have to move it up just a little bit, provided we're able to get back to our homes in time to do one. But we'll let everybody know, of course, if you subscribe to this channel, you'll get notification of when we've gone live, and you can always watch it afterwards. But maybe we'll have Barb on next week, and perhaps you can have Ruby get on, and we'll all be on the show next week. That could be fun. Or
Well,
maybe I can get this astronaut on there. I don't know.
we've been looking so toward it that this time next week we'll have some good things I hope to report.
Sounds great. And I do appreciate it. Thank you for showing those apps, because while you were demonstrating the Totality app, I actually went ahead and downloaded it. You are a dangerous person, because one of these days I'm going to fill my entire iPhone with things that were recommended by Marty.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate it. I enjoy scouting out apps and trying them and try to find a few gems among them.
Oh, there's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I hope if you, even if you just get a chance to see the partial, go out and take a look at, this is a really incredible, some people call it coincidence. I call it planning, but it's really odd that we have a moon that is just at the right distance to just cover the sun several times, a handful of times every century. And, it's really something that's incredible. If you've never seen the total eclipse, you're in for a real treat. It will be good. And I'm hoping for the best weather for everybody who's watching.
I wonder how many times next Monday we're going to hear the song Total Eclipse of the Heart.
I hope not at all, because I hate that song.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Bonnie Tyler? Oh,
I like the song.
I hate her voice. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I used to have arguments with a guy that I worked with, and I won't mention the name of the song, but his favorite song was this one song that was really hot in like 1971 or somewhere around there. Favorite song of all time, and he thought it just had this incredible meaning. And he and I used to get into the longest arguments about it. It was bad.
We'll hear that song next week if you listen to any pop channel at all.
I'm betting you are absolutely correct there.
And when I do, I'll think of you and how much you don't like that song. So.
Well, instead it could be Bill Withers singing "Ain't No Sunshine When You're Gone."
Yeah, that's right. It could be.
Which is a great song. Well, thanks everybody for watching again. We'll hopefully I'll get some Pippen's talking here. Apparently he wants to talk about something as well. But anyway, I'm going to try to have links to a lot of the pages in tomorrow, or in the show notes that we'll have out tomorrow. And best of luck in seeing the eclipse, everybody.
We'll see you on the other side of the eclipse.
We'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now we're Pink Floyding it. Yeah. Which is not necessarily a good thing. And I was going to start up the ending video, and I've got this wonderful little app that I think was written by Marco Arment, called Quitter, and it actually shut down that app while I was doing this other stuff. So I've got to make sure that it doesn't shut down QuickTime from now on, because that's really bad. Anyway, everybody have an awesome week.